say that is the main foundation. So come let us work hand in hand, because this is our land. Come my brother, come my sister, and let us build a nation together. Oh, yeah, yeah. Remember, the key to success is working hard. For our country we must have regard. Forget all your differences, let we start to build. And onward to progress we surely will. Welcome to the Dynamic Hour. Every Sunday from 1 to 2, we deliberate, we converse, we use radio and social media to connect. So I want to encourage those on Facebook and YouTube, please share the live. Sharing is caring. When you do, you give your friends the opportunity to be a part of the audience, to be a part of the conversation. Because what we seek to do is to have you dialogue in such a way that the people around you will learn, will be educated, will be motivated, will be energized to do good, to transform home and community. I want to say to those on radio listening to me, that's Vibes 101.3 FM and 106.3 FM, welcome. And tell a neighbor, tell a friend that the program is on. I want to start off this afternoon by saying we are still existing in a time, in a period where sensationalism is the order of the day for the media. They believe in sensationalism. They believe in printing, in publishing negative stuff that would draw attention, dramatic stuff, sensationalizing stuff. They are more interested in that. Who can get the most amount of likes? Who can get the most amount of views? Who can be talked about the most, good or bad? That is what they are interested in. And our people have become somewhat caught up in that whole trend. And it has not been something recently introduced. It has been there for quite a while. So our people have grown accustomed to sensationalism. You know, the media putting things out there for you to read. Clickbait, as they would say it now. They put something attractive and you see it and you click it. And then they get viewership. And then they do things that can tie you up, right? Once you get someone's attention, then you know you can weave your way through a very convoluted and probably implausible argument and make it appear more reasonable, make people believe in you some more. So you get them to that point where they click. You get them to want to know what's being discussed behind this nice cover. So you're on YouTube, you're on Facebook, and you see this thing with our beloved prime minister or some minister of government or something of that sort, and then you click because you're interested. You want to hear what is being discussed. And then many a times you click and you become somewhat bored, somewhat not interested anymore in hearing that person or that person, but you're recorded as a statistic, as a person who viewed, who looked. That is how they're doing it these days. And particularly those on the opposition side. They spread misinformation, they push a lot of negativity. That is what they have always done when in opposition, with the hope that they can ride their way back into power. So the media in Grenada is really one big on sensationalism, one big on drama, one big on over exaggerating things and using certain words to play on your emotions. That is what they are accustomed to. And it is a tactic, it is a strategy to get you to view, to listen, to follow. Because many of the media outlets, they prey on the fears of others, in order for them to notice their content and to listen and to follow what they do. They take advantage on a lot of people. And the politicians, they tend to use the media always to achieve their goals, because Grenadians in particular consume a lot of information, good or bad. So we are seeing that more and more and more. And, the reason why I am bringing up that, you will not hear the media speak about the 30 something homes in Belial, a once, forgotten community. And the people always used to say, boy, down in Belial has a lot of poor people or a lot of latrine pits. But that community saw 32 homes, not just an individual, but 32 households receiving a Indo-modern bathroom and toilet facility with running water. They used to be in that latrine pit using that, right? They no longer there. They are now happier. They have their dignity back, their sanity back, their manhood back, their womanhood back. But you would not hear mainstream media talking about this, highlighting this, that the pilot project, at least they completed in that pilot community, and they are now going in the other communities throughout the country. You will not hear them talk about that, because they're all about sensationalism. They're all about the negativity. Some prisoner escaped from prison. Boy, that's the go. Some drama with some politician or something somewhere. That is what they're interested in. Taking that and blowing it up and making people believe that heaven is falling down. I am saying, look at the good things that are happening in the country. 32 families in a small community benefited from modern Indo bathroom and toilet facility with running water. This should be headline news on all news outfits. But no.
The Water Sanitation and Hygiene Program, also known as WASH, will soon be implemented in communities in St. Andrew and the St. George South area. More details in this Abigail McIntyre report.
As the pilot program nears its conclusion in the community of Belial St. David, Prime Minister and Parliamentary Representative, the Honorable Dickon Mitchell, says the Water Sanitation and Hygiene WASH project has achieved success and is poised for adoption in other villages. Conducting a comprehensive walkthrough of Belial on Thursday, Prime Minister Mitchell showcased the tangible impact of the WASH program on the ground. Accompanying Prime Minister Mitchell on the visit were Honorable Andy Williams, Honorable David Andrew, Honorable Lennox Andrews, Tessa Sincere, project volunteers, contractors, and prospective investors. WASH stands as a flagship initiative of the Prime Minister, aligning with his vision for a more prosperous Grenada, where all citizens reap the benefits of national development. During the pilot phase of the project, 32 families received newly constructed bathrooms and indoor toilets complete with modern amenities such as tilings, sinks, faucets, toilets, and light fixtures. Additionally, many households benefited from the installation of septic tanks and suckaway facilities. Approximately 1 million EC dollars, primarily sourced from investments and donations, were invested in the project.
The individual sort of cost of doing a bathroom and toilet is around 27,000 EC. Some instances it's less than that because some people have started on their own. But I want to point out we've gotten significant. So essentially for this project we're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars. Because if you round it up to 30,000 by 32, that's almost 3 trees and 9. That's almost $1 million. But we also have had significant contributions from the business community. For example, Ramdani's brought in the toilets for us at cost price. So they didn't charge any markups. We've had a donor from Trinidad who's donated a lot of the fixtures and fittings and so on. Individuals have been donating toilets, making contributions. We got a $3,000 contribution. As you can see, Mr. Nicholas is here from Radisson, who wants to partner with us in helping support. So we really want to call on the business community in particular, because most of these people work in some business ingredient one way or the other, and we want to make sure that when they come back from working for you, that they come into an environment where they have water, where they have an indoor bathroom, indoor toilet, and they don't have to go out in the inclement weather just to do basic physiological needs. So we really want to partner with the business community. This really is an NGO, government, business community initiative. It's not just an initiative about the government, because it's for the community.
While plans are underway to replicate the program in other constituencies, Prime Minister Mitchell has already identified communities within his constituency for implementation later this year.
We've already identified for St. David's 3 other communities that we want to tackle this year. We want to do Barrett, we want to do Corinth, and then we want to do Vincent's. And the reason we're going in that order is because, as you would see, to do this, it requires significant logistics. Large amounts of material have to be brought in, stored, looked after. So we're trying to use areas where we've either renovated or reconstructed community centers to almost immediately go there. So as you saw in Belial, we had a lot of the tiles, the cement, the tin sets stored at the community center. So when we go to Barrett, the community center there is completed. So the idea we'll use the community center as a logistics operational base and then do Barrett. Current community center is almost finished. In fact, one of the contractors who's working here on the WASH program is finishing up there. Then we could go to some of the specific pockets in Corinth. Vincent's community center is under construction. Once that's finished, we should be able to get to Vincent's. So that's the plan for St. David, but the idea is we expect to start in St. Andrew, places like Telescope and so on. We really want to go to the communities that are oftentimes ignored or no attention is paid to them, and really go to them and start with them first. So the idea here is that each of the MPs will pick the villages in their constituencies that they think is most needing of this service, and then we'll go in there and support.
9 contractors were employed under the project, each empowered to assemble their own workforce from the local community. Linton Murray, one of the contractors, expressed profound satisfaction in witnessing the impact of the project in the community.
That's the best thing I've happened to Grenada in years. Take out everybody from pit latrine and put them in a toilet, no man. Yeah. That's a good thing. A good incentive.
Both Honorable Lennox Andrew and Honorable David Andrew were impressed by the work done in Belial and anticipates replicating the initiative in their constituencies.
There's an element of voluntarism in that the contractors contribute some of it freely, the community gets involved, it builds community spirit, persons take responsibility for their own bathrooms by contributing some part and assisting in the other persons. Now that kind of community care is something we want to nurture, we want to rebuild, and so this program provides the ideal opportunity for it. Additionally, I mean, you can see there's a lot of visible transformation in some of the homes. When you see the quality of the bathrooms, in wall, nicely tiled, well outfitted, contrary to in some cases to what exists, but it lifts the profile of the homes, and that must do well for the psyche of the citizens in this community benefiting from it. And so I want to commend the government, commend the MP for this area and the Prime Minister for his vision.
Having explained the concept under this WASH program, I think it's something that can be easily replicated in other communities, in other constituencies, because we do have very much similar situations in certain aspects and certain parts of the community of the constituency of Southwest.
For the Government Information Service, I am Abigail McIntyre.
Thank you very much, dear Abigail McIntyre. That was a very good story. I want to applaud you for that. It is so important, folks, that you understand what the media is doing to the image of Grenada and to you, to your psyche, to your mind. They will not speak about this. They will not highlight this. They would not feature this because it's not in their interest to do it. You're talking about a project, a program that actually transformed the homes of 32 families. And I'm certain there must be one or two ladies or even young men who are ashamed to bring people in their home or to show people that that's where they live because they would see the latrine pit, they would see that outdoor bathroom or toilet facility. But now they have their dignity back. They can easily bring a friend home. And if that friend wants to number one or number two, they can use that facility indoors. This is a big deal when it comes to transformation because under the NNP, and I don't have the statistics before me, but under the NNP administration, we were left with hundreds of homes still using pit latrines, still using outdoor bathroom facilities, with this galvanized and a pipe. And in some cases, they go to the standpipe. They jog water and they go and they use it at that particular setting. That is what the media needs to bring to the public. Let's talk about the good things that are happening in Grenada, Carriacou, and the PT Martinique. Not only the negative, negative, negative. Yes, we know mainstream media is all about sensationalism. Mainstream media is all about how many people can view, how many people will view you, and you would get a certain rating. Because you would look, for example, at some of the podcasters. Their subscribers are very few. 2.28 subscribers, but their viewership will be 5,000, 6,000 on YouTube or 7,000 from time to time. Or it ranges from 3,000 to 5,000 or 3,000 to 6,000 because people see this, caption, this headline like design. When you look at the video, they use Canva and they put this big fonts and writing up, the writings and so on. And then you're moved to click, right? Clickbait. They get you to click it and then you view. You become a viewer. You may look for 30 seconds, a minute, and then you stroops and you move on, but you already registered as a viewer. So if you look at subscriber on YouTube versus viewer, or subscribers versus viewers of the same video or page, you wonder what's going down. Because the people who are viewing those pages, they are not comfortable enough to make it their channel, to subscribe to it. So whenever that person is on, they will get a notification. Or they're not even comfortable to share it. But they would look, they would listen, maybe for 30 seconds, 10 seconds, 5, a minute, 2, 3, 4. It depends, right? So I am saying what we are seeing now is a situation where the opposition forces in particular, they understand that Grenadians love drama, Grenadians love sensationalism, Grenadians love gossip, some of them. So what those podcasters are doing now, they are using Canva, that software, that app, and they would design something very nice. The graphic, image, and words and so on. They would design that as a cover for their video. So if you're going through YouTube, you would click on that because you're curious. You want to know what they're discussing, what is the big thing there. But sensationalism is a tactic used in an attempt to gain an audience's attention. Media outlets, they resort to the use of, shocking words, exaggeration, and sometimes, blatant lies too. They put that out there to get you, to catch you. They amplify language. They try, to use big words. They would stretch the thing. That's how they do it. They get you to click and to become a statistic as a viewer. That's what they do. So the politicians are using their pundits. They are using the people on social media with their podcasts, the different talk shows and so on. They're using them with that strategy, that tactic, to get people to click and to view and to listen. Where do they go from here? God alone knows. Will they achieve their objective? God alone knows. But it makes our work harder to bring the positive out there, to educate our people, to sensitize our people, to make our people know that good things are happening in Grenada. Because people will quickly go for gossip. People will quickly go for sensationalism. People will quickly go for lies. In other words, you could tell a lie and it will spread like wildfire. But if you tell the truth, it will be so slow to even get off from where you tell it. You talk about a snail, even worse than a snail. It will be worse than a snail's space for it to go wrong. And that is why they tell lies. And when they tell the lies, it spreads like wildfire. And by the time the truth comes out, it takes a very, very long time to even reach where the lies reached. And they know that. But I am saying to my people, there are a lot of positive things happening in Grenada. And this is a big thing where 32 families in a small community got indoor bathroom and toilet facility. This is not a joke. This is a big thing. A bathroom facility costing $20-something thousand. And you had businesses, meaning the private sector, coming on board with this initiative, with government, and then the community volunteering in some cases to make sure that this project completes or get completed. I am saying we need to see that in the mainstream media. We need to see that. Why not talk about the good things that are happening and the lives that are being transformed? The media has always looked for the negative things, the bad things. When it comes to the NDC administration, they're not interested in the spice replanting program, where thousands of spice trees are being replanted. They are not interested in the regularization of public officers who have been acting for donkey years. Government is now regularizing them, giving them security of tenure. They're not interested in that. In fact, the people who are being regularized, being made permanent, they're not going to come in the media and say, well, we are permanent now and we are grateful to the government. No, but the unions and them, they were out there saying, well, regularize us. Under the NNP, they were not getting regularized. They were given contracts or acting positions because it's all about the negative. But if somebody gets paid late, man, they will be out there crying foul. If something goes wrong somewhere, it's a big talk. They call the programs and complain and complain and complain. But when good things are happening for them, they would not come publicly and say, the government regularized me or regularized my friend and we were temporary for X, Y, and Z. They're not going to do that. It's all about sensationalism. The media will not talk about the good aspect about the whole bi-monthly salary, the positive thing there, right? They would not talk about that. They would not talk about Project 500, where the government is seeking to build 500 Grenadian-style homes that are affordable for our people. It will not happen overnight, but the mere fact that they're going at it, getting the lands, getting the drawings, getting all that is required, the costings and everything, they're going after it. Big, big, big undertakings. But this is positive. This is good for Grenada. They will not talk about the climate smart teaching hospital facility that the government is undertaking. They've already secured the lands for that particular project. They are not interested in that. They're all about the negatives. But if they hear, well, there's a shortage of medication, boy, it's a big thing. If they hear 2 nurses decided to go overseas, boy, it's a big thing, right? If they hear about some kind of mishap, this is the talk. Negativity. That's the goal. They are more interested in that. That is why if you do a survey now, more of our people going to tell you they don't trust mainstream media. They have no confidence in the media. Media of old, where there was integrity, where there was professionalism, where the media worker used to be fair and balanced and accurate. Not now. It's all about who could put out the thing out there first. False or true. They don't care. And there's no accountability. Zero accountability when it comes to mainstream media in the country. But they will not talk about the hundreds of public officers who were marching in the streets for their pension and their gratuity. And they got that. And they continue to get it every month. They would not talk about that. To them, that would make the government look good if they talk about it. They would not talk about the 13% increase that public officers got. Instead of going on the streets and march and demonstrate for it under the NNP, they had to do that. They didn't have to do that under the NDC. They got the benefits, all the fringe benefits, and everything like that. The media is not interested in that. The CES program, the $15.1 million that was spent there, helping small and medium-sized businesses to stay afloat and to get off the ground. In some instances, they would not talk about that. They would not talk about the JUMP program, where the government is seeking to create internet access for households without and a device and the training. They will not talk about that. The free tuition support, the importance of that, the impact that I had on the middle income family. In other words, I am saying it is clear the mainstream media is destructive when it comes to the transformation agenda in the country. So while some people are out there talking about freedom of the press and they should be allowed to print this and say this and do this, okay, but why are they not talking about the positive things that are happening in the country? Why? Why are they not doing an article about that or doing a story on that? Everything is about negative, 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 some drama, some sensationalism, some stupidness. Come on, too many things are happening in the country that are life changing. The minimum wage order, where you had people who used to work for very little, they're now getting $60 a day or $1,200 a month or more. There are a lot of people who are happy for that. Very, very happy, but they would not go out there and talk about it. You have to really go and identify them and do a personal story. But they would not go there, call radio and different programs and talk about the good things. No. But let something go wrong. Let there be some bad thing, some negative thing. Boy, that is what they're running with. That is what they want to talk about. And it's sickening after a while. The construction of new schools. This government has always, the NDC has always prioritized building of new schools and refurbishing schools and so on. Education has always been a priority for NDC. Education, health, and agriculture. So I am saying the whole, just the idea that you have households who used to use pit latrines and now they have indoor bathroom and toilet facility. This is a big thing. I want to play it again.
The Water Sanitation and Hygiene Program, also known as WASH, will soon be implemented in communities in St. Andrew and the St. George South area. More details in this Abigail McIntyre report.
As the pilot program nears its conclusion in the community of Belle Isle St. David, Prime Minister and Parliamentary Representative, the Honourable Dickon Mitchell, says the Water Sanitation and Hygiene WASH project has achieved success and is poised for adoption in other villages. Conducting a comprehensive walkthrough of Belle Isle on Thursday, Prime Minister Mitchell showcased the tangible impact of the WASH program on the ground. Accompanying Prime Minister Mitchell on the visit were Honourable Andy Williams, Honourable David Andrew, Honourable Lennox Andrews, Tessa Sincere, project volunteers, contractors, and prospective investors. WASH stands as a flagship initiative of the Prime Minister, aligning with his vision for a more prosperous Grenada, where all citizens reap the benefits of national development. During the pilot phase of the project, 32 families received newly constructed bathrooms and indoor toilets, complete with modern amenities such as tilings, sinks, faucets, toilets, and light fixtures. Additionally, many households benefited from the installation of septic tanks and suckaway facilities. Approximately 1 million EC dollars, primarily sourced from investments and donations, were invested in the project.
The individual sort of cost of doing a bathroom and toilet is around 27,000 EC. Some instances it's less than that because some people have started on their own. But I want to point out we've gotten significant. So essentially for this project we're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars. Because if you round it up to 30,000 by 32, that's almost 3 trees and 9. That's almost $1 million. But we also have had significant contributions from the business community. For example, Ramdani's brought in the toilets for us at cost price. So they didn't charge any markups. We've had a donor from Trinidad who's donated a lot of the fixtures and fittings and so on. Individuals have been donating toilets, making contributions. We got a 3,000 US contribution. As you can see, Mr. Nicholas is here from Radisson, who wants to partner with us in helping support. So we really want to call on the business community in particular, because most of these people work in some business in Grenada one way or the other, and we want to make sure that when they come back from working for you, that they come into an environment where they have water, where they have an indoor bathroom, indoor toilet, and they don't have to go out in the inclement weather just to do basic physiological needs. So we really want to partner with the business community. This really is an NGO, government, business community initiative. It's not just an initiative about the government because it's for the community.
While plans are on the way to replicate the program in other constituencies, Prime Minister Mitchell has already identified communities within his constituency for implementation later this year.
We've already identified for St. David's 3 other communities that we want to tackle this year. We want to do Barrett, we want to do Current, and then we want to do Vincent's. And the reason we're going in that order is because, as you would see, to do this, it requires significant logistics. Large amounts of material have to be brought in, stored, looked after. So we're trying to use areas where we've either renovated or reconstructed community centres to almost immediately go there. So as you saw in Belle Isle, we had a lot of the tiles, the cement, the tin sets stored at the community centre. So when we go to Barrett, the community centre there is completed. So the idea we'll use the community centre as a logistics operational base and then do Barrett. Current community centre is almost finished. In fact, one of the contractors who's working here on the WASH program is finishing up there. Then we could go to some of the specific pockets in Current. Vincent's community centre is under construction. Once that's finished, we should be able to get to Vincent's. So that's the plan for St. David, but the idea is we expect to start in St. Andrew, places like Telescope and so on. We really want to go to the communities that are oftentimes ignored or no attention is paid to them, and really go to them and start with them first. So the idea here is that each of the MPs will pick the villages in their constituencies that they think is most needing of this service, and then we'll go in there and support.
9 contractors were employed under the project, each empowered to assemble their own workforce from the local community. Linton Murray, one of the contractors, expressed profound satisfaction in witnessing the impact of the project in the community.
That's the best thing I've happened to Grenada in years. Take out everybody from pit latrine and put them in a toilet, man. Yeah. That's a good thing. A good incentive.
Both Honorable Lennox Andrew and Honorable David Andrew were impressed by the work done in Belle Isle and anticipates replicating the initiative in their constituencies.
There's an element of voluntarism in that the contractors contribute some of it freely, the community gets involved, it builds community spirit, persons take responsibility for their own bathrooms by contributing some part and assisting in the other persons. Now that kind of community care is something we want to nurture, we want to rebuild, and so this program provides the ideal opportunity for it. Additionally, I mean, you can see there's a lot of visible transformation in some of the homes. When you see the quality of the bathrooms, in wall, nicely tiled, well outfitted, contrary to, in some cases, to what exists, but it lifts the profile of the homes, and that must do well for the psyche of the citizens in this community benefiting from it. And so I want to commend the government, commend the MP for this area and the Prime Minister for his vision.
Having explained the concept under this WASH program, I think it's something that can be easily replicated in other communities, in other constituencies, because we do have very much similar situations in certain aspects and certain parts of the community of the constituency of Southwest.
Yeah, this is big. This is life changing. If you ask me, it's life changing for families, because I often, well, let me just rephrase that. I used to scrutinize, look at the way the NNP was actually governing or ruling over Grenada. And I would say to you that a person who is poor will more likely support the NNP, because the NNP kept them poor. The NNP saw them being poor as a way of getting them to continue to support them, that NNP, to support that administration, to keep them in power. Because I think NNP is synonymous with poverty. They are the true beneficiaries of poverty. Once you are in poverty, your family in poverty, they come at you making you believe that they really want to get you out of poverty. But just look, from the time the NNP was in power, how many people they actually helped get out of poverty. Look at the amount of pit latrines we still have in Grenada. Look at the amount of workers who are still on contract. No security of tenure. They cannot go to a bank. They cannot go to the credit union. They cannot get a piece of land. They cannot build a home. They cannot get a car. They can't get anything. So the NNP was not helping these poor people to get out of poverty, but they kept them in poverty, because when they remain in poverty, they then more likely to support the NNP, because the NNP was just, in my view, a sham, right? Or a fake. They were not real. They made these people believe that they cared and that they wanted them to improve or to better their lives and living standard. But look who is actually improving their lives and their living standard and condition. The NDC. And the NDC has always done that. The NNP administration failed these poor people time and time again. But the majority of their supporters are poor people. And they admitted that. They said so openly that the poor set of people in the country tend to support them. But what have they done for the poor people in this country? What have they really done? It took the NDC to come and to get a toilet and bath indoor with running water for these families. Yes, only 32 families got assistance in the pilot stage or phase of this project, right? But they are now moving to other communities and other constituencies. And I like the idea. It's not just, doing one in this community, doing one in the next, doing one. No. To really see the impact of this project or program, you identify a community with a certain amount of families who using pit latrines and you get them out of there. Meaning you build a proper indoor bathroom and toilet facility for them. 10, 15, 20 of them in one community, and then you move to the next. It will take some time because I think the government set, is it 2027 or 2028? Something like that. To eradicate the latrine pits, right? The outdoor toilets and bath, giving people dignity again, giving them a toilet and bathroom, an indoor toilet and bathroom facility. It's a huge undertaking, but I am very, very impressed with what has happened so far. They continue to build more of the bathrooms and toilets and so on in St. David in that Belial area, because I think the target is about, is it 35 or 40 or somewhere thereabout in that community that they have identified. So they continue to work there. But the mere fact that they have completed the pilot phase in that community and they're now ready to move into other communities and do the same thing, it is a big deal. It is a life-changing undertaking. I want to applaud the government. I want to applaud the most honorable Deacon Mitchell. I want to encourage the media to highlight the positive things too. Let's talk about the good things that are happening in Grenada. Yes, we know you hate the NDC. Yes, we know you dislike the fact that they defeated NNP and you are very loyal to NNP. The mainstream media, they have always supported the NNP. So we know you're bitter and you have not gotten over it. But for goodness sake, for Grenada's sake, good things are happening here, and I think it will be in your best interest to highlight them, to feature them. Because if you run a poll now and you ask people whether they have confidence in mainstream media, they will tell you no. They don't trust them. They don't believe in them. People don't read the articles anymore, their publications anymore. People don't follow their news stories anymore. And they brought that on themselves because you have to be fair, balanced, and accurate and professional. You can have your political choices, your political party, your affiliation, and all these different things. But when it comes to Grenada, there are good things that are happening here that we all should be proud of. The government just provided 32 families who were using latrine pits and outdoor bathrooms with indoor bathroom, modern bathroom and toilet facilities and running water. This is a big deal. And in Belial, you're looking at 6 and 7 and 8 people living in a house. I know that community. So the impact is immense. It's huge. The impact on that community is gigantic. I am simply saying Grenadians must understand that once a government is doing good and they are enhancing the living condition and standard of our people, we must be proud of that. We must support that. We must openly applaud that. And this is a typical example of how the government is operating step by step to improve the lives of our people. But the poor people in the country, all you need to do, take some time and assess, evaluate. NNP, who always say to you that they love you, what have they done for you? Versus NDC, who not just talking the talk, but walking the walk. The free textbook program, who introduced that program? The NDC. The free tuition program, who introduced that program? The NDC. Universal education from pre-primary all the way up, who introduced that? The NDC. Come on, the minimum wage order to give you better wages, who did that? The NDC. The poor relief assistance, who increased it to $500 for people 65 and older, for people with disability, for people with mental challenges. Who did that? The NDC. The Imani trainees, who increased your money from $700 to $1,200, who increased your $800 to $1,200. The NDC. The NDC. Workers who on contract for donkey years, you are now being regularized retroactively. They're not doing it as though you just come to work. You were there on the NNP for 10 years without being permanent. NDC making you permanent as though you started working 10 years ago. You understand? I mean, yes, you started working 10 years ago, but the regularization will reflect 10 years ago. So as though you were permanent 10 years ago, although you're getting it today. All right? But all of that is giving you a next step towards being prosperous, towards having a better life, a better living standard and condition. You have people who want government lands. The NDC is giving you the opportunity to get deed and plan so you can pass something down to your next generation and next generation, right? Also, there are people who on land and cannot get water because the landlord don't want to give them any letter saying you have the permission to get water from Nawasa. The government going to the parliament, changing the laws so that people can actually get water, because water is life. Water is a human right. No one should prevent that from you getting it. No one should stop it. So I am saying to the poor people in the country, to those who the NNP always call poor and vulnerable, let's look at what the NNP did for you compared to what the NDC did. And you will realize that the NDC is serious about you getting out of poverty and improving your lives, making it better for you, your children, your entire family. This thing is basic. You don't need to be a genius to understand that. But yes, the NNP will come to you and say they love you and they like you and they're the party for you. But the evidence before any logically or reasonably thinking person, any conscious-minded person, the evidence does not add up, does not stack up to what they're saying out there. NDC has done more for you than the NNP. Every single day, every single month, every single year, they have done more. So, look, we are in the hands of a good group of people. Our beloved Prime Minister loves people. He wants good for you. He wants you to move to that comfortable zone where you can take care of yourself, your family, your home. He wants a better standard of living for you and your family. And that is what he's working on day and night. Just check it out. They focus on education, they focus on health, they focus on agriculture. Not that they're abandoning the other pillars, but these three pillars are very, very important in the transformation agenda. The government will soon offer amnesty to people with illegal guns in the country. So you will get 90 days to bring in your guns without being prosecuted, without going to jail. without being penalized. After that, the laws will change, where you will be given tougher sentences. I think they're looking at even 10 years for the possession of illegal firearm, all right? And I think they're looking for even more than that for a number of other things, right? So it will be tougher. It's just like the tax amnesty. They gave you a whole year. Come in, we're going to waive your penalties and fees and everything like that. Just pay the principal amount you owe. After that, we toughen it up. You see the point? So that's good news.
Prime Minister and Minister for National Security, Honorable Deacon Mitchell, says government is seeking cabinet approval to take legislation before the Parliament this month to amend the Firearms Act that will offer a 90-day amnesty to people in possession of illegal firearms and ammunition. Once these are handed over during the amnesty period, owners will not face prosecution. The National Security Minister said during a press conference this week that the presence of firearms continues to pose a major threat with the escalation of violent behavior, especially among young men.
To first offer an amnesty for a period of no more than 90 days to persons who may have in their possession or who may know of others who have in their possession illicit, illegal or unlawful firearms and ammunition, to grant them the opportunity to turn in those firearms and the ammunition without being prosecuted. In order to do so, we need to amend the legislation. So we are taking necessary steps to get the policy approved, to have the legislation read and supported and passed in Parliament so that the amnesty can be granted.
The National Security Minister said that at the end of the amnesty, the firearms legislation will be amended to significantly increase the penalties and upgrade security at the country's ports of entry.
We are also going to have to significantly invest in safeguarding our ports of entry to detect the presence of firearms which have been imported into Grenada. We do not manufacture or make firearms in Grenada. And I've been quoted repeatedly as saying that these firearms are imported from outside of Grenada and primarily from the United States of America. Not just in Grenada, but throughout the Caribbean and Latin and Southern and Central America. And so we have to do what we can, given that we're an island nation, given the porosity of our borders and the fact that we have several beaches, bays, and so on that people can access, to make sure that we can better patrol, protect, and reduce the risk of firearms entering. And criminals are quite smart. The firearms are oftentimes broken into smaller parts, smuggled and shipped in barrels, in conflicts, boxes, in all kinds of ways to disguise the presence of the firearms. And so we have to be very vigilant in dealing with this.
As part of efforts to address the escalating social ill and educate people on ways to amicably settle disputes, government will collaborate with the court's mediation office to establish community mediation services.
The government will embark upon, thirdly, working with the court-connected mediation office to develop and implement community mediation in Grenada. Currently, mediation is only associated with disputes that arise or are going to our court systems, particularly the civil courts, for disputes between persons. I'm informed by the Attorney General that as many as 23 persons were recently trained in mediation. We therefore intend to work with the mediation office to develop a program that would allow us to place those mediators in our communities and to develop a system that would allow our community centers to function as mediation offices, that would allow neighbors, families, and whole villages and communities, if necessary, who may have conflicts, disagreements, or other issues, to be able to come in a safe and confidential environment, to sit with a trained mediator, to see how they can find ways amongst and between themselves to develop solutions to whatever challenges they may face.
Yeah, that's a very good move if you ask me. And look, I want to encourage those out there, people out there with legal firearms, once that legislation is amended, please take the opportunity to bring it in. I have been calling for that. Amnesty is so important. So important. All right. So, folks, I want to wish you all the best. Have a wonderful, wonderful Sunday.
Finally, the time has come. Generations have gathered and morphed the land into a sea of red, yellow, green. Grenadians everywhere fuse their hearts in a beautiful symphony, marking the celebration of 50.
The cleanest breeze on the waters, friendly people meet in every corner. Togetherness and love is what we stand for.